the Milwaukee game on Friday was big. Kind of West versus East, the Lakers kind of laid a claim to, hey, don't forget about us, Milwaukee, even though you beat us back in December. But now, Intra-City, the hallway series, the co-tenants at Staples Center, whatever you want to call it. It's a big one, no matter the time, day, place. Let's make it happen.
Honestly, I don't know if it's the coffee going on inside of me right now or just truly the excitement of this competition that's about to go down. I'm excited. Lakers and Clippers, part 3. It's coming up, and it's a battle of the best 2 teams in the Western Conference. Here's a look at how they have stacked up this season in the first 2 matchups, which, as you see, has been pretty much controlled by the Clips. 8 points better, 7% better from the field, 4% better from deep. Lakers have been out-rebounded, out-assisted. You get the point. Following the win over the Bucks, LeBron and AD both spoke about the importance of today's Staples Center showdown.
We never want to lose to a team all the time, especially throughout the course of the season. So, this game Sunday is kind of another, revenge game. We feel like we had in both games and kind of let it slip late in the game, especially on Christmas Day. So, it's going to be another, battle and test for us, and we're going to be ready for it.
How does the fact you guys are sitting at 0-2 against the Clippers sit with you guys?
We have an opportunity to get better on Sunday because we know how well they've been playing as of late. They're at full strength. We're in full strength, and we look forward to the challenge to see how we can match up with them again. The first game, we kind of threw that game out the window. It's the first game of the season. Who were we? Who were they? They had way more returning guys than we did. We were still trying to figure out ourselves. And then the Christmas Day game, we didn't play to our capabilities. We played great in the first half. In the second half, we let it kind of get away from us. So we just look forward to see how, if we can continue to play good basketball, no matter when there's a draw.
So the weekend of must-see matchups continues for the Lakers. We know they handled business on Friday. Big game. Can that momentum ride into a matchup like today?
Yeah, I think it can. It has to, and, you can go back to the Boston game. We were talking about how the Lakers were struggling to win against some of the top defensive teams. They were able to get that game. Philly limped in here without their star players, but still, it doesn't matter. The energy that they had. So they've been trending and trying to understand what it takes to stay in the game 4 quarters against tough teams. Milwaukee, a big test with Giannis coming in here. They stayed true, met force with force when they needed to, played defense, and against the Clippers. After a day and a half rest, it's an early game, so you got to mentally prepare for that. They have to be ready, and I think they got enough incentive to get the job done.
Yeah, James, there's a lot to take out of the trunk here. You heard LeBron saying, hey, we were with them in both games. In fact, they had a late lead in the Christmas Day game. Lakers up 7 near the midpoint of that game, ended up losing that. And in the opener, way back on October 22nd, I even know what I was going to wear for Halloween back then. It was so long ago. Lakers led late in the third quarter, ended up losing that game. So definitely the Lakers have had the Clippers at bay in both previous games. And by the way, when they play next month, it might not matter. It's the end of that back-to-back that both teams, the Lakers will be facing in particular. And the Lakers might have already sewn up that first spot in the Western Conference. So this really is their chance to say, Clippers, we were up on you twice already in games. This time we're going to get up and stay up on you.
Brez, you really just set up my next point, which big game from a player's perspective you can really touch on. Given that final game of the season between the two may not matter, how important is it just in the minds of postseason and what they really want to accomplish? Is it for the Lakers to at least beat them once?
The Lakers are, I believe, 6 games ahead of the Clippers.
Plenty of padding in the stand.
And so, but people still want to know, why can't you beat the Clippers? They're tougher than you are. They have pit bulls. Kawhi Leonard dominates. So those are the things that the players are hearing at the barbershop if they still go to the barbershop. At the grocery store, restaurant, valet parking. Hey, you guys look good, but what about the Clippers? So yes, Ali, it's on their mind. It's critical. They've already pretty much secured playoff spot, and so that game won't matter later on in the season. This game does matter, particularly because they've been playing some of the best teams. Here comes another big test and they got to get it done.
And I like how AD is still trying to figure out this, I don't want to call it a rivalry, all right? Lakers-Celtics, that's a rivalry. Lakers-Spurs, Lakers-Trailblazers, those are rivalries. Lakers-Clippers, win some playoff games first, Clippers. Then we'll talk about rivalry situations. But even AD, when we just saw him talk after the game the other night, he said, you don't want to lose to a team all the time. He was kind of searching for words. Granted, he's only played the Clippers twice, but indeed the Lakers over in AD's brief. Again, not really flirtation with the rivalry, whatever it would be. Matchup. Let's call it an intra-city matchup until further notice.
Used to be JV team. Nobody's calling them that anymore.
No. The Clips have arrived.
We're past that.
Maybe intramural, but they're no longer a JV team.
No doubt.
Let me ask you guys this. Going into that matchup on Friday against the #1 overall team in the Milwaukee Bucks, I talked about how important it was for the bench of the Lakers to step up. It will be just as important for them to step up today. However, I think this is also a matchup where the two superstars who combined for 67 against the Bucks and LeBron and AD, they got to show up and show out as well.
They have to.
Big day.
You know, the Clippers, I read somewhere, I think, when they're in full tack, when they have everybody, they're 10-0, and I think their victory, the margin is like 17 points. So they go to work. So you said it, Allie. These two stars right here have to get it done. Danny Green, Bradley has to be a threat. All the starters have to get it done, but more importantly, when Kuz comes in the game, Caruso, those guys have to be, you know, your tough pit bulls to come in there and play tough defense. Oh, they got to come in there and get nasty and dirty and keep it going. Me, Beverly, and, you know, Kawhi and all those guys just play tough with an attitude, and that's what it's going to take.
No doubt, James. I liked how AD and LeBron finished that game. First half tied at 48, kind of a slow speed chase. AD 25 points in that second half alley, 14 in the fourth quarter. Lakers won by 10 despite shooting 19% from three-point range. I think they'll shoot a little bit better than that today.
I know we don't need to tell Anthony Davis, but he should probably stay out of foul trouble, early foul trouble.
Yeah.
We like to have him on the floor.
Yeah.
Lakers will look to pick up their first win of the season versus the Clippers today when the two teams tip it off at 12:30. For more on the Battle of LA, let's check in with Lakers reporter Mike Trudell. Good morning, Mike.
Morning, guys. Welcome to Staples. First of all, for a big game, you know, the Lakers do have a barbershop in the practice facility.
Yeah.
Now, you, by the way, I'm sure, could get in there anytime you want. You're a big game, James. So if you want to give you got a place, though, I'm sure, you know, your friends
Have you seen my hair lately?
Looks good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, let's trim on the side. Exactly. Now, as for the matchup itself, it's interesting because both teams, knock on wood, are healthy. That's good news, and they're relatively rested. Now, the Clippers did have Friday off, and we know the Lakers had to play pretty hard to get that win against the Bucks. But nonetheless, you don't get this too often where both teams come in without a major disadvantage. And so it is interesting because if you ask Frank Vogel, if you ask Doc Rivers, there's some different level of emphasis where they kind of think, all right, the winner of this, that could mean nothing if they do meet in the postseason. But you can make an argument, like you guys mentioned a couple minutes ago, that the Lakers don't want to lose another time after losing twice to the Clippers. They don't want to lose twice to anybody, right? That's been a big goal of theirs all season long. So, with that said, I wanted to ask Frank Vogel the difference that we've seen from the Clippers lately with some of their additions, like Marcus Morris, who's now in the starting lineup, and they've been really effective with that group. So here's Frank Vogel talking about Morris and the impact on the Clippers.
Well, he's a great player, you know, so it was a great addition by them. You know, I think they were starting Harkless before, so they're a little bit bigger now, you know, in terms of post matchups and whatnot. But, you know, we still have great size, and, you know, Kawhi and PG together, we know when they're full strength, they're going to be a, you know, a really strong opponent. So, you know, they're playing good basketball.
Just without the star power, is there anything that stands out matchup-wise to you as a key in this Lakers-Clippers?
Matchup-wise, not really. I mean, there's a lot of switching in today's NBA, you know, so, I mean, guys are going to be matched up on different guys at certain times.
From a team that will exceed your expectations.
You know, you saw the other night it was going to be AD having a matchup with Giannis, and, you know, LeBron ended up spending more time on him than AD did. And, you know, I'm sure we'll see similar variety in your matchups tonight as well.
How do you think your guys have grown in the way that they scramble out for shooters when somebody gets an open look and people can kind of close the gap and contest?
How are we growing it?
Basically, have you gotten better at contesting the shots that seem open at first, but a guy makes an effort?
Yeah, we put an emphasis on getting a hand up on everyone. And I thought we did a better job with Giannis the other night, without over-respecting his perimeter shot. But, a lot of contesting the three-point line has to do with your base coverage. If you keep your base coverage the way we want it, we're going to stay out of rotations, as much as possible. And if you're minimizing rotations, you're closer to shooters. So it starts there, and then obviously, when the guys get their catches at the three-point line, you got to run it.
Frank, in your ideal world, would you want to see a Lakers-Clippers playoff matchup?
It's unimportant to me. In terms of who we
Kevin
play
Connors
in the
studio.
playoffs,
It is final. Maryland, an 83-70 win over Michigan, giving them a share of their first ever Big Ten regular season title and first conference regular season title since the 09-10 season.
In your game prep,
meantime, a look at Hassan Asajala, 18.5 points, 10 rebounds per game, rising
I
to
just think they're more complete.
Asajala, 6'8", 265 pounds, 19 a game, 10 assists. He leads them in assists with 4. He does everything for Lipscomb.
With Marcus.
The ASUN championship coming up after we finish the Big South, Matt.
They're one of the best teams in the league, and they're showing that with how they played the last 6 games. So, I just think they're more whole than when we saw earlier in the season.
All right, guys, there's Frank Vogel. Now, you heard him talk about Marcus Morris. Later in the show, I'll be talking to Markieff Brother, of course, his twin, just about the matchup, about their friendship, how close they are, and how they've been kind of going through life together. First time that we'll see them, of course, on the court opposite each other here in Los Angeles today.
Certainly looking forward to that. Thanks so much, Mike. Good stuff.
Okay, guys.
Plenty more ahead here on Access Sportsnet. Lakers Markieff Morris arrived at Staples Center an hour or so ago, along with his twin brother Marcus, who plays for the Clippers. Lakers became the first team in the West to clinch a playoff spot with their win over the Bucks on Friday night. As we take a look at the Western Conference standings, and boy, big game. Doesn't it look good to see that little X right there?
Lord have mercy, we're in the playoffs. I'm going to have to light up a cigar. I'm telling you. It has been 6, 7, I don't know how many years. But, thank you, Lord, we're in the playoffs already. I'm serious about this, man.
Since 2013?
You know what it's been like, right? You know what it's been like?
Yeah.
For the Lakers not to be in the playoffs.
It's crazy, right? The previous record, if I remember correctly,
we're in the playoffs. I'm sorry,
the previous record, if I remember correctly, was 3 consecutive seasons without a playoff berth. And when you more than double that, that's just shocking. And I know you, as a former player, it was a big deal for you to finally clinch another postseason berth.
Yeah, I remember the first year I never made the playoffs. I think it was one of those years in the 90s, like 93, 94. And I was like, April. All this time. So now I know our guys got fat and out of shape.
I am loving the all-new
had
dual
time
camera
to do
system with
nothing.
ultra-wide on iPhone 11.
It's tough.
And I love how it's springy. You can get the amazing iPhone 11 for $0 a month when you trade
So not
in your
only has
iPhone
it been 7 years since 2013, but the Lakers are the only team so far in the Western Conference to have clinched a playoff spot so far. LeBron saying the other night, I came here to put this franchise back to where they needed to be. And you know how long a regular season is. It is something that deserves to be in that moment celebrated. Their first step is accomplished, getting to the playoffs.
It is. And LeBron did what he, sought out to do, and it wasn't easy. I mean, he had to deal with a youth movement, injury, and then come back and have AD, and still in the process of getting this team ready for what maybe it is their biggest challenge that they've had in a long time. So, yes, it is something to celebrate. It didn't come easy. We've made a ton of moves over the last 7 to 8 years trying to get the right team to take us there. Didn't have a lot of injuries. Now
Missouri
we're finally there.
Valley Conference Championship game,
March
Madness, and
in case you missed it on social media yesterday, after that clinching moment for the Lakers, LeBron posted this on IG, saying Laker Nation wrote this to y'all last year, March 24th, when we were eliminated from the playoffs. More work to do, but promise kept the marathon continued. So they did. They took some time to recognize what they were able to accomplish. But if there's anything we know about this franchise, it's that the goal is much bigger. And how timely that their next opportunity to compete is against the team that is trying to stand in their way.
No doubt. The Lakers do not celebrate playoff clinching days.
Right.
They celebrate with parades. They celebrate, coming down Figueroa on a June morning or afternoon. I mean, the Lakers don't get excited about clinching a playoff berth. But they're allowed to this year. As you stated, James, they're allowed a little bit. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this and say, all right, we're back in the playoffs. Okay, we're back in the playoffs. Let's go. So that day is over. speak no more of it. And now it's time to make sure you hold on to that top seeding in the regular season, and then the real stuff begins. I mean, it's time to really put their foot down and say, all right, not only are we back in the playoffs, we're going to win a series or 2 or 3 or 4.
No question. And, you know, they're not only representing themselves, but LeBron knows this more than anybody. They haven't been to a championship since 2010.
Yep.
And, you know, just like when we beat the Celtics for the first time, we knew we weren't representing only ourselves, but all those guys who hadn't won. So he knows the history. Magic, Kareem, you know, he's chasing Kareem, Kobe. He knows what's at stake here. So I think he's up for the task.
We talked about this after AD kind of beat up the Bucks in the second half of that game the other night. AD is kind of new to this playoff atmosphere. He made it once or twice to the second round with New Orleans in the 7 years there. It's the second round. But the Lakers used to do that every single year, decade after decade. So these are more opportunities, a game like today, for AD to kind of say, okay, so this is what a real franchise in a real playoff-type atmosphere feels like.
You know who's not new to the playoffs?
Who's that?
And went 8 straight times at one point? LeBron. Take a look at this, leading the Lakers back to the postseason. You know it's special, and the King is no stranger to the playoff basketball world. He ranks 4th all-time in most career playoff games played. Guess where you fall, big game? You're in the top 50.
Am I close?
Top 50.
44?
49.
Hey.
143 wins.
Well, look, we got 2 employees in that category right there, Robert Ory and D. Fish. There you go.
No doubt.
I do.
We could only go shows without speaking about Robert Ory. Okay. The Lakers and Clippers tip off. 12:30. Kidding, big shot. In the last meeting on Christmas, Kyle Kuzma dropped 25 points on 8 of 17 shooting. Lakers would like that Kuz to lead the bench today. And next, we'll go